How's it going, everyone? Zach here, also known as Pygon on Twitch. I'm here with
Lucas Slabanaka on Twitch.
and we are going to be starting a podcast today. Welcome to The Fridge, where all your gaming news and talk is kept nice, cold, and fresh. Yes, that's the name we're going for, and the slogan. I'm really pushing this food theme. Anyway, we're going to be talking about our favorite top 10 video games or video game series today to kind of kick this off. So, Lucas, you want to go first?
Yeah, for my top 10, I have one very specific game in mind. It is Fable, The Lost Chapters. I was going to put Fable here generally, but I really only liked one game very much, so...
It's... The first one is the best. And anyone that watches my Twitch knows that I have played through the first one. It's a good game. Did not make my top 10. But, no, it's a good game. It has a nice story.
Nice story.
The art design...
Cliche.
Art design's pretty cool.
Art design...
It definitely is cliche.
There are some parts of the story that had a bit of a twist, which I really liked.
Yeah. I got my ass kicked in it multiple times.
And...
But yeah, no, it's a good story. Lionhead Studios does a really good job at kind of bringing the world to life and making sure that it's not... It doesn't ever really get stale.
Mm-hmm.
At least not the first one.
Not the first one. The first one is also one that you can play multiple different ways without one being overpowered. Like, magic is a little bit overpowered.
When I played, I went for the melee route, and that definitely, it was a little more challenging than going the magic or the ranged route, but it was a blast.
Yeah, as opposed to Fable 2 and Fable 3, which magic was it was mostly ranged.
Oh yeah, especially number 3, the range got ridiculous.
Once you got that master
once you got those
pistol.
guns, man. Even before the master pistol, like, the guns were just ridiculous.
So that is my number 10.
My number 10 here, as I drop my phone, it's totally fine. We're gonna go with the Lego series. Not just one in particular, the entire Lego series. It's childish, but it's just they're so much fun. I played the first one, the Star Wars one, back when I was 2007. So that was 9 years ago at this point. So I would have been 14.
Yeah.
Which it might be a little too old for a Lego game, but I don't care. Like, they're fun. The jokes are great. I like the jokes before they introduced the voice acting more than after they did, because it was all physical. You know, it's all animated humor and whatnot. But they're just fun. They're nice problem solving ones, and you never realize how much you overthink stuff until you play a Lego game.
Yeah.
So, how much experience have you had playing Lego games?
Once with you.
Once, yeah.
In co-op, and honestly, it was it seemed like a beat 'em up kind of game.
And you definitely just punch things till they explode.
Yeah, it didn't really hold my interest too much, but it was a surprise to see that in your top 10.
Oh, it's number 10. Just barely made the cut, but again, it's childish, and that plays to my humor very well. So, all right, number 9.
Number 9, I have Fallout in general, but one of my favorites is Fallout New Vegas. Mainly because of the deviations that they took from Fallout 3 and, of course, the previous ones. The writing in this game is absolutely phenomenal. The main quest, there were, I think, 4 different sides that you could choose. And even within that, there were variations.
Yeah.
And this is one game where you could actually talk your way out of almost any situation. It actually supported a pacifist playthrough.
Which is great. I think more games should do that. Just because getting big guns and shooting people is fun, but it gets old sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
And so being able to go through a game not killing a single person, like I've tried to do that in games where you absolutely have to kill people, and only killing the ones that are absolutely necessary, it doesn't work out very well. As one might assume, I die quite a bit. But no, it's fun to just try different things, and Bethesda does a great job with that, with any of their game series, really.
Keep in mind that Fallout New Vegas is Obsidian Studios, which was the remnants of
Yes,
the creators of Fallout 1 and 2.
correct. But even then, they really took that. They didn't change too much.
The core formula was there.
But yeah, when I say Bethesda, I'm talking about like the greater Fallout.
Yeah.
But and the formula was there. Like they really kind of stuck to what Bethesda did, and yet made it their own. And it's really interesting how people can do that.
Yeah, and also keep in mind the DLC for this game was absolutely phenomenal. Some of the best storytelling that I've had in recent years.
I have not played enough of New Vegas to get to the DLC.
Great DLC.
But I have played enough of it to enjoy it. So
like probably one of my favorite characters and a lot of other people is Joseph Graham, which is this ex Caesar's legionary who was thrown off of Hoover Dam and survived. Yeah.
Hoover Dam, right there in the picture.
And he ended up doing this religious crusade through Zion Valley. And he was heavily inspired by just different religions in general.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I need to play more Fallout. Actually, I'm going to play through all of them on stream eventually.
I have 1 and 2 if you need it.
I will need them. Yes, absolutely. But no, yeah, Fallout New Vegas and just Fallout in general, just it's Skyrim with guns. But they came first, obviously. No, they just do a really good job of making them and making the stories somewhat connected but unique enough.
Yeah.
Learning about the different vaults was always fun for me, and the different experiments going on in them. Like every so often I'll go on wikis and whatnot and just read about the vaults because that's interesting. And if I can do that in game, I'll absolutely go and find them and play through them and whatnot.
I think one of my favorite vaults was, I think it was 99 people and a leopard or some big cat. I don't know what they were testing, but that was in it.
See how many people it took to kill a big cat?
I have no idea.
Hopefully not 99. Hopefully it only took 1. Because if it took 99, well, that means 98 people died. Anyway, moving on to my number 4. Possibly. Here we go. Alright, my number 4 is Batman Arkham. Just the Arkham series, Arkham Origins, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. They're really good. I think they're the best superhero video game I've ever played. The makers do which I'm blanking on who it is right now. It did not just tell it. Yeah, well, Warner Brothers, yeah, but who's the greater studio? Or
I have no idea.
Anyway, it's different for Origins than it was for the other 3. But they just do a really good job at capturing who Batman is and just the aspect of Batman and the how BA he is, and then the Joker.
Yeah, they did a really good job
taking
with Joker.
this character that's been done so many different ways and using some of those aspects from the different ways, but yet putting their own little spin on it, is fantastic. And then they bring in the whole ensemble of villains. We have Harley Quinn on the screen right now. The Riddler's in there. Bane and Poison Ivy, who just came on screen. Catwoman shows up at some point. Scarecrow shows up. Penguin and Two-Face. Everyone's in there. And even some of the lesser known. Calendar Man shows up. Man-Bat. Firefly. Like, there's so many different villains that show up in these games. And I find Batman to be overrated in comics, and everyone loves Batman and whatnot, but I really enjoy these games because they're just so good, and they the fighting in this game really just pioneered a whole new way. Like, there's so many games that copy it now, but it did it the best.
Yeah, that's my main gripe with the Batman games as a whole is the fighting style. Because a lot of games copied it, and most of them failed in that attempt.
Yeah. But no, it really, I mean, it pioneered that fighting style in its way.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is phenomenal. I won't spoil it for those of you who haven't played, by the way, you should all play it. Yeah, so number 7?
Number 8.
Number 8,
for me.
I can count, I promise.
Is the Metro series. So Metro is a series of games. I'll wait until you're done.
No, just keep talking. They can wait.
Is a series of games set in Russia after a nuclear fallout. There's some alien stuff in there, but I think one of my favorite things about these games is the atmosphere. It is dark, it is oppressive. Even on the easier difficulties, you still feel like you're fighting for your life in this hostile environment. And I'm super stoked for the new one, Metro Exodus.
Yeah, I've only played a little bit of Metro 2033.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to stop because I was playing it, checking it out for streaming material, and I had to stop because I was getting into it too much. And it's really good. It's fun,
mm-hmm.
and it's creepy, and that's another reason I had to stop, because it was late at night, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep if I continue to play. Like, there was stuff jumping out at me in the darkness, and I was done. I was like, I'm not having it. And it does that really well. Like, you don't ever expect it. Even though it happens all the time, every time it's new. And these creatures, I mean, they're disgusting. Look at them on the screen. It's terrifying.
And also the story is, in my opinion, not the best, but it is solid.
Yeah.
I really have
it holds together.
No gripes with this game.
No.
Also, the UI for this game is really good. I think in 2033 it was under Ranger mode, where it has no UI.
Yeah, it's got a very small and limited UI.
Yeah, so like your gas mask timer is actually on your wrist, and you see the ammo in the clip of the gun. So, really good with that.
Yeah, it's it does a good job about not cluttering your screen. Usually I want a small UI in my games, just so I know where my health is at and all that stuff, but it works for this game. Having none or having it somewhere else on your body, like...
Yeah, it adds to the atmosphere.
It works a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
My number 8, coming at number 8 is... Good grief. Is Crash Bandicoot.
Good one.
It's a game from my childhood, and I used to play it on the original PlayStation all the time, with my brother and whatnot. And they just recently this is the reason I wish I had a PlayStation, a PS4, because they released it again, and I was like, I was upset that I didn't have one. Honestly, I would buy a PlayStation 4 just for this game. It's just so much fun. An orange Bandicoot running around, destroying boxes, collecting Wumpa fruit. Yeah, it's a game from my childhood, which is why it's up on number 8.
The only real Crash Bandicoot game that I played was the racing game.
Ugh, that one was not good.
Which, honestly, I liked it. I
own it, and it's not good.
Oh, well.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry.
I'll stick to the original here. Or the remastered.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, now it's number 7.
Number 7, I have a game that is near and dear to my heart, and Pygot over here has been playing through it a little bit. It is Slime Rancher. And if you don't know what Slime Rancher is, It is a super cute little ranching game, akin to Stardew Valley, and
What
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon, yeah.
You don't really have interactions with people so much, but you do have interactions with through letters and through the trading quests. Every area of this game is really interesting. They all stand apart from each other, and every time you reach a new area, it feels like a milestone because it unlocks some more stuff for you to do.
Yeah, and in order to get to those new areas, you have to do a lot already. You either have to farm up enough gold, enough coin, or you have to like find different objects or feed these giant slimes until they pop. And so it's in order to reach these areas, it's well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a sort of accomplishment that you get.
Yeah. The one gripe that I do have with this game is toward the end it does get a little bit grindy, but it's getting an update fairly soon. This one already came out, but it added a new area and a new thing for you to try, a new type of slime, which sadly you can't domesticate. It's just, I really like it.
Yeah. I played for several hours last week, and I barely put a dent in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much to do in this game, and it's not one of those survival games like 7 Days to Die. I've played as well, and that's a survival game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not very good with just one person. So, but Slime Rancher, it holds its own as a single player survival game. And farming game.
Survival.
I would classify it as a survival game. There's different.
Moki's Megabucks is the new one.
There's different like survival-esque aspects of it. So I would classify it as a farming survival game.
Okay, and also this is the first time me even seeing any of the new update stuff. And
He's gonna zone out and watch it. I'm gonna cut it off on him real soon.
Okay.
But no, and it's just really fun, and the slimes are adorable. Like
they are.
Just the stupid derpy smiles. They completely decimated my entire like hen farm.
Mm-hmm.
The other and they were just smiling the entire time, and I was upset, but they're adorable. So all right. Any more? Anything else?
That's it for me.
My number 7,
Yep.
is Blue Dragon. And the Blue Dragon is it used to be an old anime, and they turned it into a game, and Lucas doesn't like this game because it's a turn-based RPG, but the story is super interesting. So these kids eat these like orbs of light, and their shadows become monsters that help them fight. And that's pretty basic, but the game itself is 3 discs. And so it's a huge game. The world is massive. There's so much to do. And it's just a really fun game for me to play.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did enjoy, but it was also really daunting, was the length of this game. Like, I got through maybe the first disc before I finally called it quits. And
I still haven't beaten it.
See?
I've had this game for years, and I've never beaten it.
What do you have to say for yourself?
It's hard. It's difficult. Some of the bosses in it are just straight up difficult, even on the easiest setting. If you're not prepared for them, they will destroy you. Another thing I want to say about this is it has really good music.
It did.
Not just like the tonal music, but like, you know, the adventure music. It's orchestral and it's nice, but like there's some actual like hard rock songs in here when you're fighting against bosses, and it's really interesting and really good music. And then this purple guy's just a freaking jerk. No, it's a really good game, and I enjoy it. So, alrighty, number 6.
Number 6 is going to be Legend of Zelda. As a whole, Legend of Zelda is probably the most instrumental series of games throughout my childhood. Started with mainly Ocarina of Time, watching my brother play it, and then finally when I was old enough and competent enough to play this game. It actually really drew me in, and Zelda is one of the games that actually got me into RPGs as a genre. That along with my number 1. But most of the games are really good. There were a few that kind of stumbled, in my opinion, but for the most part, they're gorgeous, and the scope is great.
Yeah. So I actually haven't played much Legend of Zelda, which is why it's not on my top 10. I really enjoy what I have played, which is Link to the Past, and then jump to Breath of the Wild. And that's really that's all I've played. Like, there's no in between for me. Really old and really new. So, but I'm currently playing through Breath of the Wild. I just got the Master Sword, and I'm trying to go through the trial to fully like connect to the Master Sword or whatever. It's like it's stupid and annoying because they take all my gear. Anyway, but it's Breath of the Wild in particular is such a good Legend of Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
The world, it's a nice open world feeling. They definitely changed it up and revolutionized the Zelda. And then just the different characters, and there's characters that I recognize without even having played a lot of. Oh, I lied. I played Hyrule Warriors. I did play that one. Which is
really
it's actually a pretty good game. I'm not a big like Dynasty Warrior fan, but that's actually Hyrule Warriors was fun, and I think that's because of who the atmosphere of which I played it and who I played it with. I just played it with a bunch of friends, and John Davis, I played with him. But no, Breath of the Wild does a really good job at getting that Legend of Zelda feel with changing everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Pretty much it.
My number 6 here. Let me make sure that's correct. Yes, my number 6 is Mass Effect. And Mass Effect is up high. Out of here. What?
Oh God.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, number 6 is Mass Effect because I didn't really enjoy shooters very much when I was younger, when I was first getting into gaming and whatnot. But Mass Effect did it in such a way that made it fun. I'm a huge space fan. I love space. I love stars and galaxies and all that stuff. And aliens are cool. I don't think they exist really in real life, but they're cool to think of. And so Mass Effect just did a great job. The first one is my favorite. It did a wonderful job of laying the groundwork. Number 2 is a very close second. I haven't quite played through 3 yet. But no, Mass Effect just did a fantastic job. I haven't played Andromeda at all. A fantastic job of creating this huge open world, and it does a great job with the whole choice system. Renegade and Paragon. And the choices, even the smallest of choices affects so much. And I think that's super cool. And so it has a ton of replayability.
Yeah, Mass Effect on my list is about number 11 on this. I only really enjoyed the first one because it had those strong RPG elements. Mainly with the weapon upgrades, because I really enjoyed modifying my weapon to have the shotgun that only was able to fire one shot before overheating, but was super high explosive. That was something that I really enjoyed, that kind of meta aspect of it. And with the later games, it just was kind of lost on me. So I played the multiplayer on number 3.
Oh, the multiplayer. That
I
multiplayer, though.
I absolutely loved the multiplayer.
Yeah, it's a good multiplayer. I think that's why I didn't beat number 3. It's because I was always playing the multiplayer. It was a lot of fun. It was a great horde mode multiplayer. And a lot of different games have done horde mode, but I think that one's the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, number 5.
Number 5, I have a game called Subnautica. And I've been playing through this currently. I'm still playing through it. And this game does a great job of indirect storytelling.
Survival game.
Survival game, in its most literal term.
Yep.
This game...
God, that thing was terrifying.
...does such a good job of making you terrified. I already have a fear of deep water, right? But I've met people that don't have any of that kind of fear, but everyone is afraid to go out in this game.
I know I am. Like, I will play for a good 20, 30 minutes and not venture anywhere near, like, even the not deep but medium water, because there's like the most basic enemy that lives there.
Yeah.
And I just won't go there because they'll sneak up on you and they'll attack you. I'm like, no, I'm not having it.
But it does a good job of, it's an open world, but there is a progression path. So there are some areas that you'll go through and all of a sudden you'll hit a pocket of really dark water and you'll hear roaring in your ear and then you die.
Yeah, and then you're gone. You never know.
A Reaper Leviathan just comes and grabs you.
You never know what got you. Yeah, so I've played this game a very small amount. Enough to form an opinion on it, though. And it's a really good game. There's no set path that you have to follow. Like, I absolutely went way too far and before I was ready, got teleported to some random island that I had no idea, died, and I could not find my way back to it.
Yeah, you found the quarantine enforcement platform before you even got any radio transmissions about it.
Yeah, it was, but it's a really fun game. It's kind of a take your own pace sort of thing. And if you go too fast, you're gonna get snuck up on and killed. Like, that's just how it is. My biggest thing about this game is I hate those stupid little exploders.
Oh,
there's explosive fish that come out of these stupid plants and they chase you down, and there's like no way, unless you have the underwater propeller, like there's no way to outrun them. So you're gonna get blown up several times.
I mean, they don't do that much damage.
They
do
don't.
Like 30%
but
of your health.
I've been swimming through tunnels where 3 or 4 of them have just come at me at once, and there's nothing I can do.
Oh, I recently found one cave that has like 12.
Ugh,
it's
awful. It's terrible. Anyway, anything else?
No. Great game.
Right.
Check it out.
Cool. Number 5 for me, we have Borderlands. Borderlands is a game that he introduced me to. By the way, if you guys don't know, this is my best friend. Y'all should know. I play games with him constantly. But he introduced me to this game, and there is so many jokes and like comedic things in this game. It's a hilarious game, and then it's action packed. Like, you can't walk 5 feet without getting attacked by something. And then there's how many different types of guns in it? Hundreds of thousands.
When they advertised it, it was millions, and then it went up to billions with some of the DLC.
Yeah, and that's not like that's not a joke. Like, there is that many different types of guns in this game because it's all procedurally randomly generated for the type of gun you get. And so you're constantly getting guns that are better or worse or just different
Just
types here and there.
different.
There's guns that explode. There's guns that
Set people on fire.
Like, there's just
electrocute.
so many different kinds, and each different, like, manufacturer, because there's different manufacturers of guns in this game.
Mm-hmm. Each one
does something different.
They do something different, and they have their own unique parts.
Yeah, and their own unique parts. And then the characters in this, the original is my favorite, because it introduced us. I mean, it's what started this huge genre, or series. I mean, and I think the characters in it I connected more with them, because this was the one I've played the most. And then they came back in number 2. You didn't get to play as them, but they were in number 2, and just seeing what had happened to them and like what they'd gone through and all this stuff, like it was nostalgic, and it was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. And I loved how the art style of this game went. And the art style kind of feeds into it being this like comic book kind of world, and it's dark at times, it's gritty at times, but it always livens it up with a joke or two. So I really like that about it.
Yeah, this game is hilarious. Like, there's always a joke around the corner, even when someone gets their head blown off. There's a joke tucked in there. Like, there's a joke during the monologue or there's like 5-6 different jokes during the monologue of the main bad guy in the second one, who just popped up on the screen, Handsome Jack. Like, he's a hilarious dude.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to kill him at the end because he was funny.
God, what?
He's great.
At one point, you see a character in the first one hung by a ceiling fan,
and there's jokes.
And there's a joke
around.
right in there with it.
Like, it's just so well written.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I can't even find any flaws with it at the moment, because it's just such a fantastic game. And the opening cinematic
is always great.
For each game is always fantastic. It introduces the characters with their little, like, this person as whatever. Like, as we saw in the first one, Lilith as the Siren. That's her name. That's the class you're going to play if you choose her.
And Brick as himself.
Yeah, Brick as himself. There are jokes tied in with the cinematic, but there's not even words being said. But so the opening cinematics are beautiful. They set the scene, and they go straight into like the beginning of the game. And then the music that they choose to go along with these.
Mm-hmm. Great soundtrack of this.
Great sound. The first one was from Cage the Elephant.
Mm-hmm.
No Rest for the Wicked. The
Heavy.
second one was the Heavy. It was Here Comes the Boom.
Oh yeah, well, the hero intro was the Heavy.
But I can't remember what the pre-sequel was.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're so cool. They don't even do third. They do a pre-sequel, which is
they're doing
before the second and after the first. Yeah, I think I got that right. Anyway, they're just really good games.
And I do have one kind of gripe with this is, I know it's number 2 on my list. But, with the pre-sequel, it was written by Gearbox Australia, so it had a lot of humor that was kind of niche.
Australian stuff.
Yeah, and it didn't really take well for me, so that is the low point for me, but even then, I really enjoyed just playing through it.
The pre-sequel is definitely the worst, and that's not to say it's a bad game. Like, it's still a good game.
Yeah, the humor was
but it's
lost.
Just... Yeah, it's just not the best one out of the 3 that are out so far. And I want to talk about the enemies in this game, because we're seeing a lot of... If you're watching the trailer, you're seeing a lot of cool freaking creatures.
Mm-hmm.
They're everywhere. Like, when I said you can't walk 5 feet without seeing, like, you will run into a bandit or a bullywug or a skag, like, all these cool different creatures. You're fighting so many different types of enemies, and there's so many different variations of each type of enemy. Like, for bandits, there's the regular ones, there's the big, huge, like,
psychos,
muscle psychos, and then there's midget psychos. Like, it's amazing. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm. And, cool. Yeah. That's it.
Alrighty, number 4.
Get this game.
Get all of them. Number 4.
Number 4, I have Dark Souls as a trilogy.
Why?
Zach here has a love-hate relationship with
Why?
them.
If you've watched my streams, you will know.
I'm keeping the death counter.
You are. Yeah, he's the one that's got the friggin' spreadsheet going.
But this game, amazing story for all of them. It's never told outright though. It's always indirect. It's always tucked inside of item descriptions or hidden behind lines of dialogue. And
I think that's one reason, or one gripe I have with it, because it's not like it's terrible, but
you just
it
don't
is.
know what you're fighting for, pretty much.
It's not bad to have backstory and story tucked away, but some of it is too tucked away. Like,
I can see that.
deep within different lore
and even then, some of it's up to speculation.
Yeah, but it's still a great game. It's definitely really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Really
it prides
difficult.
itself in it.
But it's a fun game. Even when I'm yelling and cursing, during the streams, I'm having a great time.
Mm-hmm. And Dark Souls in general is a really deep RPG. Not too deep, but you could customize your character in any manner of ways.
Yeah. Like, I started out as a pyromancer, which is supposed to use fire magic. I'm carrying around a weapon the entire time. Like, that's what I have out most.
Yep, that's your backup.
Giant. No,
Not
pyromancy.
backup.
Pyromancy is my backup. My weapon, which I'm not supposed to really be using. That's my main.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can fully customize your character.
And then the PvP system is also something that is really good on this. It's always a trade-off. You get an increased power, but the trade-off is other players can invade you.
Yep.
And then it's either a PvP situation or with the Mound Makers in Dark Souls 3, they could actually help you. But then again, the co-op aspect of it is also hidden behind that. So
Yeah,
it's a trade-off.
It's a very unique multiplayer. Because you're playing through your own single player story while you're being invaded or while your friend is helping you out. And so it's your own unique, and no one can really mess with that too much. Yeah, they can come in and kill you, but they don't change your game at all.
Mm-hmm.
You drop your souls, they take some, whatever. You can grind souls.
Yeah.
So it's a very unique and well done multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. And also, probably one of my favorite things is there's almost a sense of camaraderie between some players, because I've been playing through and I'll get invaded and the dude will be running around in circles and like call me over and I'll help him.
Yeah, it's a great community. It really is. Even when you're being invaded by someone wanting to do PvP and actually kill you.
Yeah, they'll
there's a
they'll gesture first.
There's a bow that happens. Like, there's a whole pomp and circumstance that happens before the actual fighting gets underway. And that's happened multiple times. Like, he'll be helping me out while I play Dark Souls 3 for fun. And like, anyone plays those games for fun. Anyway, but he'll be helping me out and we'll get invaded. And one of us will go and will bow, and the other one will just sit back, like actually sit down, because there's different emotes that you can do.
Yep.
One of us will actually sit down while the other one goes after this guy, and so the community is just great. It's really nice and nice. I mean, you're getting invaded and killed. You know, people are annoying you with that, but at the same time, they're being respectful about it, and that's not something you get with a lot of online communities nowadays. Like, I know the Battlefield community is pretty toxic, and so the Call of Duty community is definitely toxic. Like, you just don't get that with a lot of online games nowadays, and so it's really cool.
Also, the enemy design and the bosses in this game.
There's so many unique
great designs and so many interesting mechanics to go along with them. Like, oh god. Have you gotten to Ceaseless Discharge on the first one?
I don't know. I don't know where that's at.
Probably not.
Probably
Then,
not. If it's past Sun's Fortress, then no.
No. But there are ways to beat that enemy not dealing any damage to him. Yeah.
Dang.
But probably one of my favorite parts is part of this DLC, actually. Or not Ring
I
City.
changed it.
It was Ashes of Ariandel, which at the end of that, it has a 3-phase boss fight. First phase is 1 enemy, second phase is 2 enemies, and then third phase is 1 enemy with the power of 2. It's like Ornstein and Smo on acid.
Great.
Yeah, everything's on fire during it. It is a climactic end to that DLC.
Yeah. And honestly, all the bosses are so unique in their own rights. He mentioned Ornstein and Smo. That's 2 people you're fighting one at the same time, or 2 people you're fighting at the same time, but both of them are so vastly different from how they play off of each other. One of them's like super fast and lunges across the map. The other one has a giant hammer and is not as fast, but still like
can sneak up on you at times.
Can sneak up on you. And then you have the Gaping Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Who's just this like wide open creature that flips up on a bunch of legs and is just rib cage like mouth and slams down. Like all these bosses are unique in their own special way from game to game to game, and it's well done.
Also with the Ring City DLC, you're fighting in the end of the world where the terrain is corrupt and twisted, and you could actually look up and see the city go flat and then just do a 90-degree inception turn, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay, my number 4 is Assassin's Creed. Now, Assassin's Creed is made by Ubisoft, and they do. What do you mean?
Go on.
Anyway, they do, starting from the first one, up until some people would say Revelations. However, I have played all the way through Black Flag and enjoy them thoroughly. And I want to play the rest of them, and I do believe I will enjoy the rest of them, because I'm a major fanboy for this. I love sort of stealth and assassin type games. And so Assassin's Creed, back when I very first played it, the original with Altair, it's such a good game, and the parkour, it's so much fun to just run up a wall to the top of a tower and then stab someone on the way, run up the tower, jump into a hay bale down below. Like, getting from point A to point B has never been easier in these games. And the one thing I have with big games, with open world games, is traveling. Mm-hmm. And if the traveling sucks, I'm not going to enjoy the game as much. And so with Assassin's Creed, the traveling is so much fun. And it gets you from A to B real quick, and you can kill and murder as many people as you want on the way. Mm-hmm. And it's just, and at some points you'll never stop running. You'll get them, and you'll just keep going. And so I've really enjoyed the series up through Black Flag. Even number 3 took a little bit of a dip, but I still enjoyed it. And I think it's just been a really good series. I'm also a history major in high school, and not high school, in college. I'm studying to be a high school history teacher, is what I was going to try and say. And so the history that they put into this game, because they actually go to these places and study the history, and they study the architecture and all of this stuff, so they can faithfully recreate what it was like in those time periods. It's fantastic, and I love it.
Yeah. Mainly what got me into this game was the free running. because that was the first game's calling card almost.
Right.
And
Free-running this and Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, and it continued on, and then I got hooked onto this story. I was really invested into the story. And then revelations happened, and it went...
Whatever.
I didn't enjoy the aliens.
The aliens are fine. The
But
aliens make it...
I do...
As I said before, aliens are interesting. Well, here's the...
I do enjoy the mechanics. Not gonna lie, I still really enjoy the game, but the story lost it for me.
I don't know. I really enjoy the story, not just because I'm a huge fanboy, but I think the aliens add a little more depth to it. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I liked the really religious, not really undertones, overtones.
It's a huge overtone, especially in Ezio's story.
And the aliens threw that off.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Ezio's story, so you're seeing now that these guys are getting shot with arrows from nowhere. Throughout, Ezio has a trilogy. It's Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and from game to game they add more stuff, which is the Brotherhood in the assassins that you can call upon to help you in fights or to send on missions to get you items and whatnot. And I think that's a really cool aspect. And there's like there's a tower defense aspect in, I think it's introduced in Brotherhood, where you put things are traveling through attacking your fortress, and you have to put your assassins up on these rooftops to defend your fortress. And I think it's a unique aspect added to these games that didn't draw away from the game itself. And the addition of actually increasing your forces to build the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood back up to its former glory, back when Altair was in charge and whatnot. It's a really fun thing to do, and it adds to the story a lot.
Mm-hmm. And also collectibles.
So many collectibles. But I don't care. I'm gonna collect them all.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it.
Alrighty, number 3.
Number 3. It's got to be Half-Life for me. Great series. You'll probably want to pull up Half-Life 2 specifically, but it's a shooter. Great story. Absolutely amazing story. I cannot stress that enough. You start out as the mute protagonist,
Gordon Freeman,
who is just some dude and accidentally opens up a portal to pretty much hell, alien hell. And aliens invade, and you fight through them in the first game, and then there's a time skip as you get ripped from reality, and you get put back into Half-Life 2, which is I want to say almost a post-apocalyptic thing, but the aliens have kind of cracked down on human society, and really good, really dark at times.
I'd say it's a dystopia.
Definitely a dystopia.
Not really. I mean, sort of post-apocalyptic, but more dystopia.
Yeah. And then you fight through the revolution in the 2 episodes, episode 1 and episode 2.
Yeah. My favorite's Half-Life 3.
Honestly, have you read the
no. I actually
for that?
I haven't played much Half-Life. What I have played, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I will say it does have its moments. It is good gameplay. It's just not something that I enjoy in particular. But it does have its moments, and the graphics at what they were for their time were good. It has aged not well, but where they were for when they were made, it was good. It was top of the line stuff, and Valve does a great job with all their games. Unfortunately, they can't count to 3 with anything, but that means that we get original IPs from Valve, and that's cool. And so they do a really good job, and I don't know, I think this might be the first one that they're really known for.
Yeah, and for the time, the facial tracking was state of the art.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
really good.
Yeah, it's still actually the facial tracking still kind of holds up today.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics themselves not necessarily,
Yeah.
but the facial tracking does. In fact, it holds up better than some games nowadays.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
I would love to see more games in this kind of dystopian future, because I really like the tone of these games.
Yeah. And I think there's definitely other games that are in a dystopian future. They just don't do it as well.
Definitely.
All right, anything else?
No?
Cool. Number 3 for me, we're going back to the SNES days with Super Mario RPG. That's pretty far back. Pretty far back. But I used to play this game all the time when I was younger. My grandparents had it, and we would go over their house, and I would just play it non-stop. This is my favorite RPG of all time, my favorite Mario game of all time, with Mario Galaxy probably being close second. I actually just really enjoy Mario Galaxy. Either Mario Galaxy or Mario 64. They're both really good. But this one it's so much fun. And it introduced me to my favorite Mario character ever that has never been in another thing. And that's Geno. Not this stupid...
Not Malo?
Not Malo the freaking cloud. This guy right here. He's a puppet, and he's awesome. But so it's a fun game. It's a different take on Mario, which is always cool. Not always. Mario Run was terrible anyway. But for the most part, it's really cool. They do different things with Mario, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. This one really works out. It's a lot of fun. It's different. The story is cohesive, and it works, and it's just really good. And there have been other Mario RPGs, but this one is the best.
I have nothing to add to this one because I've never played it.
It's really good.
I've played Super Paper Mario and Paper Mario RPG, but
yeah,
haven't actually touched any of these ones.
You should definitely try it. There's emulators everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I have this game.
Yep. Anyway, no, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Number 2
for me is Borderlands, and we've already kind of talked about this one.
We already talked about it, so I don't think we need to anymore.
Yeah. We spent a good 15 minutes.
We did talk about it for a while. Number 2 for me is Elder Scrolls. In particular, Oblivion. Now, most people would say Skyrim. I love Skyrim. It's a lot of fun. I play it a lot. I probably have more hours in it than I do Oblivion. But Oblivion is where it all started for me. Now, when I say I love the Elder Scrolls series, that doesn't include Morrowind. I don't like Morrowind at all. In fact, I kind of detest Morrowind. It's just not... We're not going to get into that. We'll talk about that on a different podcast. But Oblivion is where it all started for me. It's where my... I already liked fantasy before playing Elder Scrolls, but it just increased that for me. And it increased my knowledge of Bethesda. And then Skyrim came out, and I really went full love for Bethesda. And so Oblivion, I've never been able to beat it, because there's just so much to do, and I get sidetracked, and then I move on to a different game. And then I come back to it, and I start a new character, and I get sidetracked, and I move on to a different game that comes out. But even then, going back and playing through all this stuff, it doesn't get old for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, cool.
Okay. And that leads to my number 1, The Elder Scrolls as a series, particularly the one that you detest.
Yep.
Morrowind.
His favorite is the worst.
And Morrowind, for me, I remember my dad picked it up in like a discount bin when it pretty much
that's where it belongs.
A little bit after it came out, and I remember watching him play it all the time. And then when I finally got my Xbox, I booted it up and absolutely fell in love with this. Honestly, the alien landscape for Morrowind is my favorite part. I've been running the Elder Scrolls D&D campaign, and every creature that I describe, you're like, what is that?
I have no idea. It's difficult.
That was my reaction to everything in this game. Because you are part of the medieval towers and the keeps, but also the spiraling mushroom forests and cities and just the floating cities of Vivek.
As much as I detest this game, I will give it two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, its landscaping is beautiful, downright beautiful. The towers, the mushroom towers that he described, they're awesome. And the cities, they're all different. They're all like sort of the same, but different in their own way, and it's hard to figure out how to get around. But just the different landscaping, it all looks like a giant pile of turd, but when you travel across it, it's adventurous and it's good landscaping. And two,
Soundtrack.
Totally forgot what number 2 was.
Let's go soundtrack.
Soundtrack is good.
Jeremy Soule, always good. And then it just keeps going for Oblivion. I spent probably 1,000 hours in Morrowind.
I remember number 2, the lore.
Yes, the lore.
And it's because the lore for Elder Scrolls is just good in general. But Morrowind brings its own unique lore to the series that without it, the other games wouldn't really be where they are. Mm-hmm. And so I have to give it credit for the lore that it brought to the game.
And going to Oblivion, that was my first time with playing on PC, and I fell deep into modding. I played it on my Xbox and got it on PC, and then modded it until it broke, fixed it, modded it again, played it, and Bethesda does a really good job with mod support. I don't fully agree with some of the new stuff that they're doing, but that's a different topic.
Yeah, we'll talk about that some other day.
Yeah. But Oblivion had a really good landscape as well. I enjoyed the different biomes and stuff like that. And then it continued on through Skyrim. And currently I've probably put about 4,000 hours into Skyrim.
Yep. Alrighty. On to my number 1, which, oh man, this game. My number 1 is the Kingdom Hearts series. And the reason why, we'll pull up this one here. The reason why is because I'm a huge Disney nerd. I grew up watching Disney. I grew up living Disney. Like, it's such a big thing in my household. We still have a lot of our old Disney VHS tapes. And so I just grew up with Disney. You take that, you combine it with fantasy and RPG and a little bit of Final Fantasy, which is I enjoyed as well, and it just makes this amazing game that is it's so fun to play. You know, you're running around this guy named Sora with Donald and Goofy, which Donald is the worst healer ever, but that's something. And you're traveling to these Disneylands, and you're transforming into different things, and your costumes are changing and all this stuff. You know, you're going to Hercules, and you're going to Pride Lands, and all this stuff. And it's just so much fun to play with Disney characters in an RPG setting, defeating enemies and all this stuff.
And I haven't played this one too much because I never actually had a PlayStation.
Yep.
So when I did play, it was like when my brother was away and I stole his PlayStation. And I loved these games just wandering around because I didn't really... it was on his save, and I didn't want to mess with anything, but I really enjoyed what I played. Just doing a bunch of little side quests or stuff like that.
Yeah, this is the first game series that I really fell in love with. And so that's why it's my number one, is because it's something from my childhood and something that I can really enjoy. Sit back, relax, and I still have the first and second one on my PlayStation 2, and it's just something that I can really sit back, relax, not have to worry about anything, and just enjoy thoroughly. Yeah, and that's our number ones. That's our top 10 games of all time, or game series of all time. Yeah, that calls the end of this very first podcast. We haven't quite decided yet if we're going to do weekly or bi-weekly, but there will at least be 2 a month. You can count on that. And so with that, we shall see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.